The 3 pins of 3 that he will be bringing out to pick are Hunter Riley, Lana Alley, and Kendra Lawman.
They might be able to use one more if you're willing to go in there.
Grand Champion Pin of 3 Swine is sponsored by Tri-Valley Bank, and Reserve Champion Pin of 3 Swine is sponsored by Porter Dozing and Excavating.
How many purples did we give out? No? 7. I'd like to go ahead and bring 3 of the 7 purple ribbon groups out here. I would like to commend the exhibitors in the back of the barn, even those that didn't get called out. I judged a county fair on Wednesday, and I gave out 2 purples out of 10. So today I gave 7 out of 11. It's very, very hard to get a trio put together. You know, a pair seems to be very easy, and that third one's always too big or too little or just built different. The way that I kind of evaluate Pen of 3 is it's kind of a 50-50, how quality-wise good are the pigs, and then in comparison to how similar they are. So, you know, it's kind of the good and the bad of judging. You know, there's no definite answer, I guess, until somebody makes the case or the call. You know, everybody's kind of got different preferences. Of the 3 that are out here, I thought these were the best probably combination of the 7 purple ribbons. Of these 3, there's one that I think is extremely hard to make hogs this similar, just in terms of how thick and wide and massive they are, and to the degree of the same kind of look that they have. Very high quality champion Pen of 3. Young lady right here to my left, to go ahead and put your hands together for her if you would, please. The pair that's over here for for reserve and bronze, I guess, from a quality standpoint, hogs that I think both trios are extremely good quality. Of this pair, trio, there's one that I think just kind of falls out of bed in terms of being a little bit thicker made in the one pen, and versus the other pen, I think in terms of trimness and look and feature, all resemble each other extremely well. Probably not quite as much as what our champion did, just in terms of mass, and ultimately that's kind of what it boiled down to. But the young man right here has got a very, very good Pen of 3 that's going to be your reserve champion. If you would put your hands together for him, as well as the young lady right here farthest away from really high quality individuals in terms of quality. Just had the thick barrel right here to the left was a little bit just bigger and bulkier, whereas the calico gilt was a little bit more attractive, and kind of what differentiated that pen between reserve and third. Very, very good competitive trio or pens of 3. If you would put your hands together one more time for not only the exhibitors but the board men. Hats off to these guys. We didn't have anything get mixed up, so very, very good job. Makes everything work very smoothly.
All right, receiving grand champion Pen of 3, Kendra Lawman. Receiving reserve champion Pen of 3 is Hunter Riley. Receiving purples were Hadley Riley, Lana Alley, Grant Lawman, Alexis Lawman, and Ryan Roberts. Receiving blues were Catherine Howe, Noah Howe, Lillian Howe, and Joseph Roberts. Next up, we'll have our Class 1 of Commercial Gilt. Once again, let's give our judge, Kyle Beatty, a big round of applause. Thank you for coming to us from Plymouth, Nebraska. He's done a great job with the kids today. Class is complete. In this class, we have Lana Alley, Hadley Riley, Grant Lawman, and Hunter Riley. And the weights in this class range from 213 to 255.
Awesome set of gilts out here for this first class and for the commercial drive. You got 4 gilts that I think all offer some breeding value. They just come in some differences in terms of what kind of package. Ultimately, I think you got to go ahead and use the young gentleman's gilt right here with the orange stick to go ahead and be your class winner in this particular drive. I think just a combination gilt in terms of look and presence, has more than enough bulk and thickness without sacrificing comfort and flexibility of both ends of her skeleton. Very, very high counting underline. I think has the right kind of vulva set, just balances up so well. Young lady's calico gilt right here is exhibitor number 70 is going to go ahead and be second in this particular drive. Very comparable and similar in what she has to offer in terms of being a very well balanced package from the side and maintaining through correct squareness of skeleton, both front and rear. Not quite as high of a counting underline, not quite as tall at the point of her shoulder, just ultimately probably not as big as what our class winner is. But I think it's her added comfort and flexibility when she gets out and goes that needs her to drive, into second, place in this particular class. Young man here to my right, exhibitor 24, is going to go ahead and be third. I like this one's added just length and of cannon bone. She's a longer profiling female that's just bigger statured than what the gilt is that rounds out this class. No, she's not quite as bulky as what the young man's gilt is that it's going to go ahead and slide into fourth. I absolutely got to admire and appreciate the thickness that this one has. Probably pushes the limits to just being a little bit too much for my liking, honestly. I read her and interpret her, the short counting underlying gilt, being a little bit more market oriented as opposed to a breeding. Just with her added mass, kind of works to her disadvantage in this particular class. Very fine quality set of 4 gilts. We'll go ahead and excuse them and jump into the next class.
Receiving first purple is Hunter Riley, and receiving second purple is Lana Alley. Receiving third with a purple is Grant Lawman, and rounding out the class is Hadley Riley, also with a purple. Next up, we'll have our Group 2 commercial gilt. Class is complete. In this class, we have Margaret Roberts, Cooper Avey, Lillian Howe, Catherine Howe, and Alexis Lawman, and the weights range from 273 to 284.
Excellent high caliber belted gilt to go ahead and start this drive. Just put so many good things together in terms of combining stoutness of bone and feature. So much thickness without sacrificing her look and comfort when she gets out and goes. Very nice belted gilt to go ahead and start. From there, I think it's a logical and easy second. The young lady's predominantly white, kind of blue masked gilt right here is going to go ahead and be awarded that second place. Exhibitor 23 is driving that. Just a stouter featured gilt that, to keep it short and sweet, there's more of her in a better balanced package than the remaining trio of gilts that kind of round out this class. Easily one that I think offers more dual purpose in terms of breeding ability. Exhibitor 23's gilt's a very nice one to go ahead and logically be second. From there, you've got a trio of gilts that I think are very, very comparable and similar. I'm going to go ahead and award them a blue ribbon. If I was to put numbers and placings on them, Exhibitor 81 would be third. To my left, the other blue rumped gilt would be fourth, and the red belted gilt would be fifth. To keep it, simple and in layman's terms, I think hogs that you like their added size and scale and frame from an underlying standpoint, could tweak them here and there. There's a little bit of variation in terms of quality. From a levelness standpoint, I think they get a little bit rounded in their overall appearance from the profile. Ultimately, what it kind of boiled down to me is just like to see these stouter when you talk about and discuss bone work and width as well. Just get a little bit more two-dimensional in their basic build.
Receiving first purple is Cooper Avey. Second is Alexis Lawman. Receiving blues are Margaret Roberts, Lillian Howe, and Catherine Howe. Up next is our last group of commercial gilts. Their weights range from 289 pounds to 349 pounds. Class is complete. We have Ryan Roberts, Noah Howe, Kendra Lawman, and Joseph Roberts.
Award 1 purple and 3 blues in this drive. Going to go ahead and use this young lady's calico gilt for your class winner. I think front 2/3 of this one are just so opened up and powerful and stout without sacrificing look. I'll admit, doesn't move as 100% off that left rear leg. I think from an angulation standpoint, one that I think just suffered a little bit of an injury, and it's the breeder mentality in me that opts to go ahead and use that one to win this class, because I don't see that projecting on into offspring, and from a quality standpoint offers so much more in terms of width and levelness in order to kind of best the other trio in this particular drive. Got to go ahead and comfortable using that gilt to go ahead and win. From there, we're going to go ahead and move into the blue ribbon category. I'd use exhibitor 83's blue rumped gilt to be second in this particular drive. Just a longer level profiling, one that ultimately gives up too much in terms of stoutness and width. Same can be said for exhibitor 84's predominantly white gilt. Not quite as extended as what that gilt is that winds up in second, but I think a lot of the same similarities can be found in that pair, just not quite as much of her. Maybe, offers the same kind of bone, just doesn't offer as much volume. Young man's red belted gilt that rounds out this class. It's a lot of the same thickness can be found in that gilt as you analyze her through her forerib and depth in through that forerib and back in through her flank. From a width standpoint and volume standpoint, don't see very much give and take in that trio. She, to me, was the one of those three that didn't hook up quite as correctly right behind her shoulder blade. Probably gave up just a nickel bit more in terms of stoutness of bone in comparison to those two predominantly white gilts.
Receiving first purple is Kendra Lawman. Receiving first blue is Joseph Roberts, and receiving blues are Ryan Roberts and Noah Howe. Now we'll have the champion drive for the commercial gilt, and we'll have Hunter Riley, Cooper Avey, and Kendra Lawman. The gilt that is chosen as champion gets to go on to the Southwest Shootout, and if you've never been to it, it's really cool, and I encourage everyone to go and visit and see the fair and see the show. It's on Sunday, August 1st at 11 a.m., and the judge is Ryan Rash, who is also very entertaining, and you can learn a lot. And that's at West Pottawatomie County, so I encourage you to go.
3 class-winning gilts out here competing for your champion commercial gilt drive. There's a pair of belted gilts that I think offer so much quality. And even a calico gilt has a very good future in terms of making competitive club pigs moving forward. Of this pair, I think that it boils down to in front of me. I'm really inclined to appreciate the look that both of these have to offer. One just has an incredible amount of stoutness and thickness to complement that added look. That's the young man's gilt to my right. She's going to go ahead and be champion. That second place gilt comes out, and one that I just talked a short time ago that, very impressive in terms of stoutness, a longer profiling one. I think from a quality standpoint, there's one that just hits me a little bit harder as being a mover and a shaker. She combines that added look. She's not quite as big or far along from a maturity standpoint, but I think in terms of being a high caliber female, it's the one that next best suits me best. Young gentleman's belted gilt right here in front of me is going to go ahead and be your reserve.
Receiving Grand Champion Commercial Gilt and qualifying for the Southwest Iowa Shootout is Cooper Avey. And that is sponsored by Darwin and Sandy Bug. Receiving Reserve Champion Commercial Gilt is Hunter Riley. And that is sponsored by Brandon and Megan Schaff. Once again, thank you to all our sponsors. Thank you to our judge. Thanks to our superintendents, Jeremy Walter, Tommy Thompson, Steve Howe, and all the people that are behind the scenes, as well as our ringmen. You made it go smooth.
Yeah, if you want to bring them in and recognize them, I would do that.
They are right now talking about carcass swine. So Grand Champion Carcass Swine is sponsored by Knockins Farms. Reserve Champion Carcass Swine is sponsored by First Express Insurance.
Do you post that somewhere so people can look at it? I would do that. Just post it so people can see how they did. They don't know the results yet. So yeah, I'll just kind of award that who gets them. I know. I've got it. You gotta help me make sure I get the right one for the right kid.
Right. So Hadley is the older, just that was just
Really? Wow,
I think. $42.
Is that 42 or 38?
That's
Should be 30.
that's 38. So that's number 2.
In the ring right now is Hunter Riley, and he receives Reserve Champion Carcass Swine with pig number 7838.
That big freaking
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of those. He was worried that the lighter weights were going to skew some of the data. We had to go back and read, see the lighter weight.
I'd say 60%. Purple. Yeah, that's short, sweet, pretty easy. 60% up is purple. Just happens to be top 10. Did that on purpose.
Receiving Grand Champion Carcass Swine is Hadley Riley with pig 7842.
Go ahead and say the weight.
Hadley's pig weighed 253 pounds with a back fat of 0.54, a loin eye of 9.3, and 65.41% lean. Hunter Riley's was 255 pounds with a 0.67 back fat, a 9.72 loin eye, and 65.33% lean. Also in the ring right now is Alexis Lawman with pig number 7864. She receives top rate of gain swine, sponsored by First Express Insurance, with an average daily gain of 2.5. Were you feeding that pig some chocolate chip cookies? Receiving purples for the carcass, so make sure you guys get your ribbons. We're Davy, Kendra Lawman, Hadley Riley, Lana Alley, Margaret Roberts, Catherine Howe, and Joseph Roberts, and Lillian Howe. And that was for anything above 60% lean, and that was actually the top 10. And then receiving blues are Noah Howe, Ryan Roberts, Alexis Lawman, and Grant Lawman.
I can walk around, make sure we get them if you want. Okay, yeah.
That concludes our 2021 Swine Show. It's good to see everybody out and about again, so thank you for coming and supporting our kids and their projects.